So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And, one thing that's kind of helpful for grounding when we all have a little bit of chaos going on in our life, from small amounts of chaos to large amounts of chaos where everything feels completely out of control. The one thing that you do have control over is how you breathe. So, when it comes down to it and everything else is feeling a little bit crazy all around you, you have your breath and you can control that. So just, all of us for a moment, just notice the sensation of the air as we're inhaling, and then notice the sensation of the air as we're exhaling through the nostrils. And sometimes when we're going through super stressful situations, all we need to maybe take some time out, take a seat somewhere and just breathe mindfully for about 4 or 5 breaths, maybe 10 breaths. And give your mind a bit of time to have some space. So let's just imagine our shoulders are aligned with our hips and the ears bring back to be aligned with your shoulders. Imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen the spine. Excuse me. And then bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the cheeks, the neck, the shoulders, and the throat, the chest, and the belly, and all of your limbs. And be aware of sounds. And just notice what thoughts are arising in the mind right now. Just allow them. And be spacious around your thoughts. Be kind to yourself. One of the things I've noticed in this country, and also more recently, I'm thinking about Lorraine, is that this country is so big and there's so many people in it, and they've tried to develop so many techniques or systems to deal with the amount of people that might be calling in for this or that. It's actually really quite hard to access any help. And that can lead to a little bit of frustration. It can also lead to people sort of just kind of give up and go, oh, well. But here's where we have to kind of pursue things. So again, notice what's going on in the mind. Give yourself some space. And then, when all of us are giving ourselves some space, we're taking a step back from reactivity. And then we can make clearer decisions. And then when we're not reacting to things, we're also not doing anybody any harm, including ourselves. So we think with this practice, think of all the people of our life, our loved ones, the ones we don't like, and our strangers, and imagine they can all change place at any time, and they're all equal. They all have this wish to be happy and this wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. This purification process is something that's happening with the mind. We create negativity with our mind. We can change it by creating positivity instead. So we sincerely regret from the depths of our hearts anything we've done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And remember where the logic behind regret is based on karma. So everything we experience is due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we will experience, and we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger and attachment and the rest of the cause of why we harm others. And then think I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. We rely upon, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, not as a higher power that's going to fix everything for us. So imagine we have Vajrasattva above the crown of our head, facing the same way as you. He's made of this beautiful, brilliant, radiant, white light. He has a beautiful face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And so this little section on compassion. In order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we've harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to end up as suffering for them in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasiti mempi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajrama mimutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a humpe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajrama mimutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a humpe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dinapatita Dida meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of your speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe. So feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, And imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of the mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on the switch, and the light that comes dispels all the darkness. The same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment and neediness and bitterness and grudges and jealousy, resentment, all of this is instantly dispelled. Not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe. So be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And so next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the kind of like subtlest imprints of negative energy. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dina Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mempi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mempi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mempi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your omniscience have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And this is this determination to not harm with our body and our speech and our mind. And without this determination, we're going to keep doing the same things over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to not harm, becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. It becomes like goalposts for us. So think of something that you've been working on, you would like to work on. Give yourself a nice, simple timeline. And remember, this determination to not do again is what gives us the strength to change. And we have all these habit energies. We have a habit to complain or whine or moan or gossip or whatever we have this habit to do that doesn't necessarily serve us or others. We just gradually become aware of the things and then gradually take some space, have a look and see what we think we could change that would be of benefit. This is a slow, gradual process. It takes time for everything to kind of settle into the body and mature. So with these mantras, we're working on at a very subtle level. We're working at an energetic level. So we're not just going blah, 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 blah. And with the combination of the Sanskrit and the visualization and the meditation, we're doing a huge amount of work. It's phenomenal. So really rejoice in your efforts. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And we can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And then we make a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And a piece of advice that Venerable Rabina gave everybody this morning, if you weren't there, is, we've been advised by His Holiness to recite the names of Manjushri for Rinpoche's return. So for those of you here who are, have Lamzo Rinpoche as a teacher, if you don't, that's, probably is. But if you do have Rinpoche as a teacher and you want to follow His Holiness's advice, Venerable Rabina suggested we'll just recite one verse. You don't have to recite the whole thing. The whole thing takes about 30 minutes. So just recite a verse or even a couple of lines. And then you've actually fulfilled the advice. You feel a little bit better. Don't feel like you're avoiding something that's too big to deal with. Okay, everyone. So anyway, just a suggestion. Lots of love and long life for all of our teachers, our precious teachers. And I will see you, tomorrow, Wednesday. All right. Lots of love, everyone. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.